other nights at Longreach, we travelled to Bramble Tourist Park, the distance of 240 k's. At Bramble Roadhouse, we unhooked the caravans. Then we started heading up the old telly track. There were a few detours on the way. Which track do we take? It would be fairly slow going, travelling up the old telly track. Plenty of detours on the way. If you're thinking of doing the telly track, this is what you will be up for. We are heading to Palm Creek Crossing, which is fairly challenging. Tackle that if you dare. Most people chicken out of the steep incline and exit. What they call the chicken track, but it's still a challenge. This guy here, I think he's doing a charity run. He seems to be advertising that, so he's got himself in a spot of bother here. Anyway, we got the winch hooked on. There was a car that went through before he did. They had diff lockers, so they could quite easily get out and help the others through. Slowly but surely, he's starting to winch himself out. Almost. It was hard work, that one. It would have been half an hour he was trying to get out of that hole. Here we have a couple of girls having a crack. They dropped themselves on the chicken track. They chose a different exit. Anyway, we got the tyres smoking. Time to hook the cable on. This guy's a winch. He did a fairly good job of pulling a few through. I think these girls here, they use their own winch. After that, we headed to the Bramble homestead. This is their outdoor restaurant area. After our overnight stay at Bramble Tourist Park, we head to Han River, which is a distance of about 400 k's. This leg of the trip is all backtrack, which is probably the longest stay that we'll have on our trip. It wasn't uncommon to have rain today. Every day when we've been at the top end, it rained. A few dead cars on the way. Han River Roadhouse had a nice caravan park, had nice gardens, and there was a few peacocks in the area. After our overnight stay at Han River, we travelled to Mossman, which is a distance of 310 k's. As we travel south, the hills are showing up a bit more. It's a little bit slow going in some areas. It's nice to be on sealed roads again. As we get closer to Mosman, we pulled over and took in the views from the lookout. Again, it's raining. We had a heavy shower when we pulled in. Overnight stay at Mosman, we travelled to Port Douglas, which is only about 20 k's. We had plenty of time before we checked into Port Douglas, so it's time to wash the car and caravan. There was a lot of scrubbing to get that Cape York dust off. Port Douglas Caravan Park, this is our view. The next day we decided to go for a drive at Daintree Forest. Anyway, it is a rainforest and that's probably why it's raining. We need to cross the Daintree River, so here's a ferry to get across the river. Time to board the ferry. I think we're the last car on. Big ferry, there's a lot of cars on board. We've come off the ferry and now we're travelling through the Daintree area. While here, we went to the Discovery Centre. Next day, we travelled down to Cairns to the Sky Rail. One happy couple taking in the views. Here we go, ready for takeoff. Fasten your seatbelts. Here is Barron Falls on the way. After 3 nights at Port Douglas, we travelled down to Rolling Stone, which is a distance of about 360 k's. As we travel down the coastline, we are travelling fairly close to the sea, which is a nice drive. As we travel down south, we have gone through Cairns. We're approaching a town called Tully. Tully is essentially a sugarcane town. It is also the wettest place in Australia. you see the big gumboot? We missed it the first time round. The big gumboot lookout. Here is the view from on top of the gumboot. Sugarcane train going into the refinery. I think it's just the start of the sugarcane season when we were touring up this area. In the town of Tully. Here's the Rolling Stone caravan park the next morning. We got in late that night because we were held up on the Bruce Highway for about 6 hours because of a truck and car accident. It was a nice park, but we didn't stay there long enough to enjoy it. After a brief stay overnight at Rolling Stone Caravan Park, we head to Pentland, the distance of about 290 k's. The countryside has changed as we travel inland. Pentland was established in the mid-1850s, becoming a crucial rail and communication junction of the day in this period. Today, the small town, with an estimated population of 250, offers many historical and natural attractions, such as the historical railway station, Norwood Lockup, Barra Range Lookout, and bird life. The overnight stay at Pentland, we make our way to Winton, which is a distance of about 356 kilometres. On the way, we stopped at Hewden. There you can see the tank art and the large windmill. Also, there is a man-made lake on the edge of town. After an overnight stay at Winton, we drive on to Longreach, which is a distance of 179 kilometres. Looks like it was going to be a day of dodging thunderstorms. There has been a bit of rain in the area. On the way, we called into the Australian Age of Dinosaurs Museum, which is about 25 k's out of Winton. A lot of the work done here is done by volunteers. And I have to say goodbye to me pet. Things got a little bit wet after a heavy thunderstorm went through. we went to the Qantas Museum. Here are some old motors that are inside the shed. One of the old Qantas aircraft. You can almost fly first class with that one. Not sure what this aircraft was, but it was on display. It looked fairly well worn out and very basic. It would have been a bit tricky to fly, I would say. Then it was on to the Stockman's Hall of Fame. Here are some of the displays that were inside. And the jumping dogs. To make these dogs jump, you actually had to jump and then they jumped. Hope you enjoyed this part of our Cape York trip. Go to our YouTube channel for more videos of our trips. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel.